Imagine seeing someone everyone calls mad and then realizing she is not just a stranger but your own sister. That is what happened to me. Her name is Grace, my older sister, and every Friday at exactly 12 a.m., my father would quietly take her from the market square, bring her home, wash her hair in a black bucket, and then take her back. Why? I had no idea. But that night, I decided to follow him. My name is Becky. I was 21 years old, and my elder sister Grace had just turned 23. We were the only two children of our parents. Our mother worked in an office in town while our father was a very strict man who liked everything done in order. In our house, nobody entered another person's room without knocking. My father called it respect, and trust me, nobody dared to break that rule. But one morning, something happened that changed everything. It was a Friday morning. My mother was getting ready to leave for work. My father was outside checking his car like he always did. And I was inside my room arranging my books and getting ready to go to school. The house was quiet, peaceful, normal. Then suddenly, my door flew open. My heart almost jumped out of my chest. Someone had just rushed inside my room without knocking. I turned quickly and ready to shout. Then I saw her. It was Grace, my sister. Her breathing was heavy, like someone who had been running. Her eyes looked strange. Before I could even ask what was wrong, she suddenly ran to me and grabbed my waist. Her fingers held me tightly. Then she said something that made my whole body freeze. Becky, from the first day I saw you, I have always wanted to love you. For a moment, I thought I heard wrong. My own sister? I pushed her away immediately. God forbid, I shouted. But before I could even understand what was happening, Grace suddenly started tearing her clothes. First her sleeveless top, then her skates. My mouth fell open in shock. Grace, what are you doing? I yelled. But she didn't answer. She ran out of my room and straight towards the sitting room. I stood there frozen. My heart was racing, my head was spinning. I could not understand what I had just seen. Later that day, we finally understood the truth. Everything was terribly wrong with Grace. She had lost her mind. My mother cried the whole day. She walked around the house crying and praying. But my father did something strange. He acted like nothing had happened. He stayed quiet, too quiet, and that was the beginning of the mystery. 1 week later, something else happened. We woke up one morning and Grace was gone. We searched everywhere, the streets, the bushes, the hospitals, and even the police station, but we could not find her. It was like the earth had swallowed her, and my mother almost went mad. But my father, he still acted calm. And that was when another strange thing began. Every night, when my mother and I had fallen asleep, my father would quietly leave the house. At first, I did not think about it so much, but after some time, I started noticing a pattern. He only went out on Fridays, and he always left at the same time, at exactly 12 a.m. And that was when I started feeling something was very wrong. One Friday night, I decided to find out the truth. I pretended to sleep early, but my eyes were open. I was watching and waiting. Then suddenly, I heard the sitting room door open quietly. My heart began beating fast. That must be my father, I whispered to myself. I slowly got out of bed and walked to the window. Just then, I heard the sound of his car. Without wasting time, I quietly left my room and went outside through the back door. The night air was cold. The street lights were dim, but I could still see my father's car moving slowly down the road, and I followed him very carefully, making sure he did not see me. After some minutes, my father finally stopped the car. I hid behind a small wall and looked. And when I saw where he finally stopped, my heart skipped. It was the market square, the place where many homeless and mad people usually walked around at night. My father stepped out of the car, then he looked around slowly, like someone checking if anyone was watching. Then he walked towards one of the mad women standing there, and the moment I saw her face, my legs almost gave way because that mad woman was not just a stranger. It was Grace, my sister. My mouth opened in shock. I could not breathe. I watched as my father walked to her, smiling, holding her hands gently like nothing was wrong, like everything was normal. My mind could not understand what I was saying. 1,000 questions ran inside my head. Like, how did my father know she was here? Why did he bring her here? Why did he look so calm? I was still hiding there trying to make a sound when suddenly someone touched my shoulder from behind. And my heart almost stopped when I felt that touch on my shoulder. For a moment, I was sure someone had caught me spying. Slowly, I turned around, but there was no one there. Then I looked carefully again, and that was when I noticed what had happened. The rope of an old campaign banner hanging from a pole had just brushed my shoulder because of the wind. I breathed out heavily. Thank God, I whispered. My heart was still beating fast, but then at least I knew nobody had caught me. Quickly, I turned back to where my father and Grace were standing, but they were gone. They had disappeared. My eyes widened in confusion. Where did they go? I murmured. I stepped out from my hiding place and looked around the market square. The mad people who usually walked around there were still pacing slowly in the darkness. But my father and Grace were nowhere to be seen. Just then, I noticed something. Far ahead of me, I saw the red light of a car moving away. And it was my father. He was already going back home. I had no choice, and I started running after the car, keeping my distance so he would not see me. Luckily, my father was driving slowly, and the road from the market square to our house was not very long. With the help of the shadows and small buildings, I managed to follow him without being noticed. About 20 minutes later, we arrived near our house. I hid behind the fence and watched. My father parked the car in front of our compound and then stepped out. And when he opened the back door of the car, my heart skipped again. Grace stepped out. My sister looked terrible. Her hair was rough and tangled, her clothes were dirty. But the strangest part was this. She obeyed my father like a small child. She was quiet, silent, no struggle, no shouting, nothing. I quickly ran to the back of the house and entered through the back door before they came inside. My hands were shaking, my legs felt weak, but my curiosity was stronger than my fear. I slowly walked to the sitting room window and carefully pulled the curtain a little. From there, I could see the front of the house clearly. My father opened the trunk of his car and then brought out something I had never seen in our house before. He brought out a small plastic bucket. The way he carried it, it looked like something was inside it, maybe water. I watched quietly, trying not to breathe too loudly. My father placed the bucket on the ground. Then he gently pulled Grace closer. She followed him without saying anything, just like someone who had lost her mind completely. Then my father bent her head forward and pushed her head inside the bucket. My eyes widened. He started washing her hair slowly and carefully, like a father bathing a small child. Grace did not fight him. She did not resist. She just stayed still, letting him do whatever he wanted. At that moment, my whole body felt cold. The scene looked like something from a movie, and my heart was beating so fast that I thought I would faint. But the next thing my father did almost made me scream. After washing her hair, my father held Grace by her shoulders. Then he slowly lifted her head out of the bucket. Water dripped from her hair down to the ground. And for a few seconds, Grace looked completely different. Her eyes changed and they looked so clear, like someone who suddenly woke up from a deep sleep. The way she stared at my father, it did not look like madness anymore. It looked like she actually recognized him. Wait, what? I whispered to myself. Something was not right. Maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. Maybe I was too far from the window. So I wiped my eyes with the back of my hand. Then I moved closer. This time, my whole body pressed against the window. I opened the curtain a little wider so I could see better. I pushed my face between the window bars, trying to see clearly, trying to understand what was happening. But just then, my elbow accidentally hit the iron part of the window. The sound echoed loudly in the quiet night. My heart dropped. The noise felt as loud as a drum in a silent village, and immediately my father turned his head. He looked straight at the window, straight at me. Fear shot through my whole body, and I quickly closed the curtain. My heart was beating wildly. My legs started shaking. I was sure he had seen me, but something inside me kept whispering, "Look again, look again." Slowly, gathering the little courage I had left, I opened the curtain again, just a little. And the moment I looked outside, my heart nearly stopped. My father was walking towards the window, and without thinking, I ran straight to my room. My hands were shaking as I quietly shut the door. Then I jumped on my bed and covered my entire body with my old blanket. I pretended to be asleep, but my eyes were closed. My heart was still racing like a drum, and before I could realize it, fear finally made me drift into sleep. The next morning, I woke up with a terrible headache. My body felt heavy. For a moment, I could not remember anything. Then suddenly, everything came rushing back. My father, the market square, Grace, the black bucket. I sat up on my bed. Oh no, I muttered. How did they leave last night? I had slept off before seeing where my father took her again. I hit my forehead with my palm in frustration. I messed up, I whispered. If only I had stayed awake. Maybe I would have known the whole truth. I was still lying on the bed thinking about everything when suddenly my door opened without knocking. My heart jumped again, and immediately a terrible thought entered my mind. Please let it not be my father. Slowly, I lifted my head to see who it was. And the moment I saw the person walking towards my bed, my stomach turned cold because it was my father. This time, he was not wearing the clothes he wore the night before. Instead, he wore a very simple one, but that did not make him look less frightened. If anything, he looked even more serious. So I slowly pushed away the blanket and stepped down from the bed. "Good morning, Daddy." My voice sounded weak even to my own ears. My father did not smile. He did not even greet me back. Instead, he spoke coldly. "Keep that greeting for your mother," he muttered. He kept walking closer. Then he stopped right in front of me. His eyes locked on mine. "Becky," he said slowly. My throat suddenly felt dry. "Tell me something." My heart began racing. What, Daddy?" I asked quietly. Then he asked the question that made my chest freeze. "What were you doing at the window last night?" For a moment, I could not breathe. My heart started beating so fast that I felt like I might faint. So he did see me. I had a strong urge to run. I quickly glanced at the door, but it was closed. Then I looked at the window. There was no way I could escape. And even if I did, where would I run to? This house was the only home I had. Slowly, I looked back at him. His eyes were still fixed on me, very sharp and cold, like a hunter watching his prey. "Father," I swallowed. I wasn't doing anything. I tried to sound calm. But even me could hear the fear in my voice. I expected him to shout. That was how my father usually reacted when he was angry. But instead, he suddenly laughed. A short laugh that is very strange. And it disappeared almost immediately. "My daughter," he said quietly, "you still have a lot to learn about telling lies." My stomach tightened. Then my father placed his hand on my shoulder. His grip was firm. He leaned closer and looked straight into my eyes. "You should be thankful I'm in a good mood today," he said slowly. "Because if I was not, you would not like what I would do to you." A chill ran down my spine. Then he continued. "Now listen to me carefully." My legs were shaking. "If I ever see you following my car again at night," he paused, "or if I ever find out that you told your mother anything about what you saw last night." He stopped talking because just then, the door opened and someone else walked in. Immediately, my father's expression changed. It was like someone had switched his mood. The serious look on his face disappeared. He even removed his hand from my shoulder. Then he turned to me again and spoke in a complete different tone. "Becky," he said calmly, "I want you to study hard and make your mother and I proud." He glanced at my mother, who was standing at the door with her hands on her waist. Then he looked back at me. "That is all I wanted to tell you this morning." But before leaving, he gave me a warning look. "If you fail to listen," he added quietly, "your mother and I will deal with you." Then he turned around and walked out of the room, leaving only my mother and I inside. My heart was still beating fast. I felt like someone had just escaped a terrible danger. But the fear was not yet over, because my mother was still standing there watching me. Then she slowly walked closer. "Becky," she said softly. She stopped exactly where my father had been standing before. "I am your mother." Her voice sounded emotional. "I carried you in my womb for 10 months. She placed her hand on her chest. 10 full months. "Becky," with pain, my heart tightened. "And since the day you were born," she continued, "I have taken care of you." She looked straight into my eyes. "So I do not want you to lie to me." Her voice became serious. "I want you to tell me the truth." My heart skipped. Did she know? I quickly shook my head inside my mind. "No, it's not possible." "Mom," I said carefully, "What do you want to ask me?" She glanced quickly at the door, then around the room, as if she wanted to be sure my father was not nearby. Then she looked back at me. "Becky," she whispered, "please don't lie to me." Her voice began to shake. "I can hear it in your voice when you lie." My chest tightened even more. "I promise I will not lie," I said. "Just ask me." Then she asked me the question that made my stomach drop. "What is that thing your father warned you not to tell me?" She stared at me. "I want to know." For a moment, my mind stopped working. "Mom, he did not warn me about anything," I quickly said, forcing a small smile. "Shh," she whispered. She quickly covered my mouth with her hand. "Don't raise your voice," she said. "He might be outside." Then she lowered her voice even more. "If you tell me, I promise I will not tell him." She looked straight into my eyes. "Trust your mother." Now I was trapped. If I told her the truth, my father might find out. If I lied, I would hurt her. My mind was spinning. What if she reacts loudly? I thought. My father would know immediately that I told her. My mother was still watching my face carefully. I knew her well. She would not give up easily. "Mother," I finally said. My heart was pounding loudly. "You are right." Her eyes lit up with expectation. She moved closer, waiting for me to continue. "My father only came to warn me to take my studies serious." I lied. "He said I should not make him regret paying for my school fees." I forced a straight face. "He said if I fail, he will send me out of the house." My mother sighed deeply. Becky." She looked at me for a few seconds. Her eyes showed a little doubt. "I hope you are telling me the truth," she said. Then she turned to leave. But suddenly she stopped and looked back at me. "If I ever find out that you are hiding something from me," her voice became firm, "I will not be happy with you." Then she walked out of the room. The moment she left, I collapsed on my bed. My chest felt heavy. My mouth had gone dry. Even today, I still remember how terrible I felt that morning. How I lied to my mother. Maybe I should have told her the truth. Maybe that would have been better. But at that time, I was too afraid because the truth was frightening. One question kept repeating in my mind. Did my father have something to do with Grace's madness? Why would a father secretly meet her mad daughter every Friday at 12 a.m.? And why did he want me not to tell anyone? The more I thought about it, the more scared I became. Days passed slowly. That Saturday, we all stayed at home. Sunday came, then Monday. School resumed again, but I could not focus on anything. My father's secret refused to leave my mind. Then before I knew it, Friday came again. That night, I lay on my bed pretending to sleep. My eyes were open, waiting. Then finally, the clock struck 12 a.m. Immediately, I heard the sitting room door open, then close again. I slowly sat up. "That must be him," I whispered. I quietly stepped out of my room. I waited until I heard the sound of my father's car. Then I moved to the window carefully. I opened the curtain, and I saw his car slowly moving away. Something inside me began to push me again. Follow him. But I remembered his warning, and I was filled with fear. What if he catches me this time? But another voice spoke inside my head. You must know the truth. So I quietly walked to the back door and stepped outside. But the moment my foot touched the ground, I froze because I saw someone's shadow on the wall. And then I heard footsteps coming closer towards me. very slow and steady. My heart began to pound. "The blood of Jesus," I whispered. Then the person stepped into the lights, and the moment I saw the face, my whole body went cold because the person standing there was Grace, my mad sister. But something was wrong. Grace was not walking like a mad person. She was not shouting. She was not laughing strangely. She was not even looking confused. She was simply walking slowly, calmly, like a normal person. My heart started pounding inside my chest. "Grace," I whispered. She stopped walking and looked at me. For a moment, we both stared at each other. I took a few slow steps closer. My legs were shaking badly. I needed to be sure. Maybe the darkness was playing tricks on my eyes. Maybe I was dreaming, but no, it was truly her. My sister right there in front of me. Before I could stop myself, I ran towards her and hugged her tightly. "Grace," I whispered, "it's me, Becky." Her body felt stiff and cold. She did not hug me back. She did not say anything. She just stood there quietly in my arms. A strong smell of sweat and dirty clothes came from her body. It seemed she had not bathed for days. Slowly she pushed away from me. Then she looked at me with strange eyes, eyes filled with confusion, like someone trying to remember something far away. "Becky," she said softly. Her voice sounded weak, like someone who had not spoken for a long time. My heart tightened. "You are home and safe," I said. But she only kept staring at me like she did not fully understand what I was saying. Before I could ask her anything else, we suddenly heard the sound of a car engine. My heart jumped again as headlights flashed across the compound wall. Grace turned her head slowly, and I knew immediately whose car it was. The car stopped suddenly in front of the house. The engine went quiet, then the driver's door opened. My father stepped out, but the moment he saw us standing there, he froze. His eyes widened in shock. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. My father looked at Grace, then he looked at me, then looked back at Grace. His face slowly changed. First shock, then confusion, then something else I could not understand. "Grace," he said quietly. Grace blinked slowly. Her eyes rested on him. "Dad," she whispered. My father walked towards us slowly, like someone who could not believe what he was saying. "How did you get here?" he asked. His voice sounded tense. Grace frowned slightly. "I don't know." Her voice trembled. "I was walking." She looked around the compound like someone lost. "I don't remember anything." My heart began beating faster again. Something was very wrong, because just a few minutes ago, my father had driven away from the house. He had gone to the market square. That was where Grace was supposed to be. So how did she get here before him? None of it made sense. My father was still staring at her carefully. Then suddenly the front door opened. My mother stepped out. She must have heard the car sound. "Alex, why did you come back so?" Her words stopped immediately because she had just seen Grace. "My daughter," she screamed. Mom ran towards without thinking. She hugged Grace tightly. "My child!" Tears immediately began running down her face. Grace looked surprised, but she did not resist. She just stood there quietly as my mom cried and held her. My father was still standing beside us, silent, watching everything. Then my mother looked up at him, her face full of confusion. "What is happening here?" she asked. My father opened his mouth, but for the first time since I had known him, he had no answer. And that was when I realized something terrifying. My father himself did not expect Grace to be here. I think it's time to tell the truth, he said quietly. My mother folded her arms. What truth? She asked. My father looked at Grace for a moment before speaking again. 2 months ago, when Grace had that terrible sickness, the sickness affected her mind. She stopped thinking clearly, and she started behaving like someone who had lost her senses. My mother's face tightened. Yes, we all saw that. But what happened after that? She asked. My father looked tired. I went to see a traditional healer, he said quietly. My mother's eyes widened a little. And what did he say? My father swallowed. He said Grace could recover if only we can follow instructions carefully. What instructions? My mother asked. My father pointed towards his car. The water in that black bucket, he said. It contains special herbs the healer prepared. What about it? My mother asked. He told me that every Friday night at exactly 12 a.m., I must wash Grace's hair with the water. And the market square, he said Grace must spend time around people whose minds are already disturbed. My mother looked shocked. Why? The healer said it helps the confused mind slowly return to normal. And why didn't you tell us all this? She asked. My father looked at her sadly. Because the healer said the treatment must remain a secret. That if too many people knew, it would stop working. My mother stared at him for a long moment, and I stood there quietly listening to everything. My heart felt heavy all this time. I thought my father was doing something terrible. I thought he had something to do with Grace's madness. But the truth was completely different. He had been trying to save her, even if it meant everyone misunderstanding him. My mother slowly wiped her tears. Then she looked at my father. You should have trusted me enough to tell me. My father nodded. You are right. I was just afraid of losing her. My mother looked down at Grace again. Then she hugged her tightly. But now she is back, she whispered. And that is what matters. For the first time in many weeks, Grace gave a small smile. It was weak, but it was real. And at that moment, the heavy fear that had lived in our house for weeks finally began to disappear. That night taught me something I would never forget. Sometimes the things we fear the most are not what they seem. Sometimes the person we suspect is the same person fighting the hardest battle for us. Love does not always look gentle. Sometimes it looks strange. Sometimes it looks fighting, but in the end, it is still love.